Right now at noon, roads are closed all over the isthmus as water from Madison's lakes continue to fill up the downtown.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Friday afternoon. Damage associated with this week's rainfall, record rainfall and flooding is estimated at more than $100 million. County officials say this estimate covers public and private property. This also does not include the state's estimates, which would be higher because of road repair. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi says close to 900 people have reported an estimated $69 million in damages so far. Dane County is still under a state of emergency as the National Weather Service estimates as much as 13 inches of rain fell in parts of western Dane County Monday into Tuesday. And we have live team coverage of the aftermath from this week's historic rain as rivers and lakes continue to flood towns and communities. Our team with our first alert forecast, a little rain this morning, not a lot.
That's right, and it wasn't all that heavy. Hopefully we can go through the rest of the day without any intense heavy rain, though we are still tracking some chances for some showers and thunderstorms going into the afternoon. It's rather cloudy out there right now. Temperatures are into the mid-60s. They're really not going to warm up all that much with a lot of the cloud cover that we have out there, but today does remain an alert day for showers and thunderstorms. Some of those, a few isolated ones, especially in the western half of the area, could be on the strong to severe side. Here's the batch of rain that came through earlier, that now moving out of here. We're paying attention to this batch of rain, although it's weakening. That is what could have impacts on our weather later on. But in the meantime, no showers and thunderstorms in the immediate Madison area. Here we are as we get you into the overnight hours. That's the showers and storms that we are going to keep a close eye on, as those could put down some heavy water. But the good news is they do not look to be long lasting. Of course, in our main weather forecast, Mark, I'll have full details on what we can expect going into the overnight hours.
Yeah, that was the problem Monday night. Those storms just sat there.
Absolutely.
These are moving along. All right. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you in a few minutes. In about an hour, the mayor and city engineers will give an update on flooding and traffic problems. We'll carry that live on channel3000.com. As more rain falls today and into the weekend, here's a look at the current flood risk map in Madison. You can tell basically the entire east side of the isthmus and running for a couple of miles along streets near the Ohio River is the most impacted area. The city says flooding in that area could last for more than a week. The city of Madison expecting several streets downtown to be closed for several weeks as water levels continue to rise. News 3's Rose Schmidt is live on East Washington Avenue to tell us the latest there. Rose.
Well, Mark, we are starting to see some water creep up along the sides of East Wash here, and the city has put up no parking signs along this area, as well as high water signs. Now, right now, you can see East Wash is still open, but that could close. City officials tell us they are prepared to reroute traffic through Willie Street if East Wash becomes impassable. A number of side streets are closed currently, including Livingston Street. Others have several inches of standing water. Now, please, we want to remind you, do not drive around barricades or through that standing water. We've also seen some businesses here on East Wash sandbagging and preparing for the water levels to rise. City officials are also going around to every house in the neighborhood, putting up flyers, these orange flyers here. They say your property is in danger of flooding, and they want to give you the latest information about that, and so do we. So please stick with us on News 3 at 4, 5, and 6, as well as on channel3000.com. We'll have you covered with the latest road closures here. Back to you, Mark.
Rose Schmidt reporting live from downtown. Again, the mayor, Soglin, and city officials will hold a news conference today to update people on the road closures. And the city is offering free sand and ready-to-fill sandbags at a number of locations around the city. Many city parks and public parking lots are pickup spots. The city's website has a map, and you'll see all of the locations offering sandbags. The bags at these locations are only for City of Madison residents. Madison garbage crews will be making special runs today and Monday to pick up anything damaged during the flooding. If you have large items like furniture or carpet that needs to be tossed, the Streets Division is asking you to contact them so they can set up a time to pick up those items specifically. You can do that on the city's website. And the flooding concerns are continuing this morning for people living downstream from the areas already covered with water. Greene County residents are watching the Sugar River this morning as water moves from places like Belleville and Albany. High water reached Broadhead yesterday. The river and Decatur Lake are overflowing, closing down some roads around there. The county is giving out empty sandbags, but residents will have to fill them themselves. And the DNR is warning people about debris and quick-moving currents in waterways across southern Wisconsin. The Cambridge News reports a man is okay after being swept away by the rising water in the Koshkonong Creek. He was in a canoe with his 2 kids when it capsized. The kids held onto the boat, but the man was quickly carried downstream. He was able to get to shore. He is okay. In an attempt to get services to flooding victims more quickly and efficiently, a special resource center will be open today at the Mazomanie Elementary School on Ann Street. A number of agencies looking to help will be there from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tomorrow, those organizations will be at the Black Hawk Church in Middleton from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Stay safe and informed with News 3 as our county continues to deal with flooding. You can find our First Alert weather and traffic app in your phone's app store. Hurricane Lane is now a Category 2 storm. Despite the downgrade, it's still hitting Hawaii harder than any storm in more than a quarter century. Heavy rain is soaking much of the state. Hawaii's Big Island has received more than 2 feet of rain so far. Right now, the storm is about 200 miles south of Honolulu, with winds reaching 110 miles an hour. Forecasters say Lane will reach the main islands by tonight. Its powerful winds and heavy rain still have the potential to cause more flash flooding and catastrophic damage.
This thing is moving pretty fast. Yeah. Have you seen it like this before?
Not like that.
Please heed the warnings. It's very dangerous to be outside, particularly in areas that we know are have imminent flooding occurring or are getting ready to flood.
The Red Cross says it has evacuation shelters set up across the islands. Last night, about 1,500 residents used them. Senator John McCain will no longer undergo treatment for his brain cancer. Tributes are pouring in for the Arizona senator since his family made the announcement this morning. McCain is in his 6th term representing Arizona. He's been away from the Capitol since December. John McCain is 81 years old. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds to think about all the different ways to prepare zucchini. Ready? Go! I've got a question for you. How many different ways can you think of to prepare zucchini? It seems endless, doesn't it? We can grate it and turn it into a really moist quick bread. Or we can add some grated zucchini to a pot of spaghetti sauce to give it extra body. And when it cooks down, no one even knows it's in there. And have you ever thought about stuffing them? Yup, they're great when they're stuffed with a beefy tomato or veggie filling. You can even serve them sauteed as a simple side dish or make them your new soon-to-be favorite way, like this. After slicing them thin, we dip each piece in milk and then into Italian-style breadcrumbs that we mixed with a bit of Parmesan cheese. These go onto a wire rack that we placed over a baking sheet. I'm gonna pop these in the oven, but you can also make these in your air fryer. Once they're crispy, they're ready to munch on. These are healthy and fun to eat on their own or dunked in sauce. You can even use them to add an extra crunch to your salads. To get the recipe for our baked zucchini chips, simply check out our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found fresh from the garden way. For you to say, ooh, it's so good. Pretty good, huh? Mm-hmm. See ya.
All right, Howard, see ya. Coming up, our rain chances continue throughout the day, but how's the rest of the weekend looking? Chris Reese joins us with the first alert forecast after the break. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. You can call our hotline. Volunteers to help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Well, what President Trump is tweeting about the economy and your Dunkin' Donuts drink could bring you big prizes. Wendy Gillette has more in today's Money Watch report.
Markets open higher today at the opening bell. Investors are awaiting Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's speech to global central bankers in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Powell could address the threat President Trump's tariffs pose to global markets and what's next in terms of interest rate hikes. President Trump is tweeting about Target today after its CEO, Brian Cornell, said Wednesday this is the best consumer environment he's ever seen. The president wrote that conditions will improve even more in the future. Under his leadership, Apple became a $1 trillion company, and now he's about to get richer. Apple CEO Tim Cook is set to collect around $120 million in stock, earning 560,000 shares of Apple. About half of that was tied to how well Apple did after Cook took over for the late Steve Jobs. And you could get a lot more than a drink when you order a large or extra large hot coffee, tea, or hot chocolate at Dunkin' Donuts. The chain is launching a contest called Sip, Peel, Win starting Monday. The cups will have a game piece attached. You could get coupons or a prize, including a year's worth of free coffee. The contest runs through September 30th. That's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Wendy Gillette.
Wendy, thank you. The Dow Industrial's up 148 points at the noon hour. The NASDAQ up 64. Let's check in now with Kyoto 6 Farm Director Pam Yakia on this Friday at long last.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I can't take my eyes off radar. I'm watching what's happening here in Wisconsin with the rainfall pattern. I'm also kind of curious to see how Hawaii is going to rally over the weekend. So a lot of weather-related news. That's influencing our markets as well in Chicago. We're mixed as far as corn, soybeans, and wheat are concerned. This afternoon, the Pro Farmer Crop Tour will release their summary from their state tours. What's interesting as I look back and kind of review some of the Crop Scouts comments is that we saw some of the strongest crops in the East, which is very unusual to see Ohio and Indiana have such good crops. Minnesota came in dead last as far as their corn projections are concerned. And it's not just about the yield. A lot of the Crop Scouts are commenting about how late Minnesota, for example, got their corn planted. That's leading to a shallow root system. Also, it means kernel depth on some of the corn is very, very shallow. So a lot of those kinds of things that agronomists or farmers are curious about, will it ultimately impact the market? Well, we'll wait and see when they release that report this afternoon. Little short covering going on right now as far as corn is concerned going into the weekend. Soybeans, we were watching the export numbers to see if China starting to come back around and give the United States some business despite all the trade talk tariff discussions. As far as dairy is concerned today in Chicago, a nice little rally. I talked to Mike North from Commodity Risk Management Group in Platteville this morning, and he said we're still starting to feel a little bit of that early buying for the holiday season that will stretch through Super Bowl Sunday. Barrel cheese up 2.5 today at 160. 40-pound block cheese up 2 as well at 167. Double A butter finishes the week another penny and a quarter higher at $2.26 a bushel, a pound rather. So there we. I don't know what a bushel of butter would look like.
I don't either.
All caught up on that crop report, keeping folks looking for a little bit of a rally for those folks that haven't been protected in a market position before. So we'll see what happens this afternoon.
Yeah, hopefully, most of the rain will stay away.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm not touching my umbrella. I'm going to try to will it away.
Positive energy. You staying
That's
up late to watch the Pack?
You bet. Want to see Jordy in action,
I
too.
know. You want to see him play against us?
I don't know. I wonder if him and Aaron are having a steak before they go to the game.
They may have. Maybe last night. All right. Have a good weekend,
see you
Pam.
later. Mm-hmm.
And Chris Reese is here now, and we have an alert day for today.
That's right. We do have an alert day. Part of that is due to the risk for some severe storms, but mainly due to the potential for exacerbated high water with additional showers coming through that could put down some heavy rain at times. So yes, today another alert day, keeping that in mind. No major flood bulletins that are area wide, but on the isthmus, we do still have that flood warning in play, especially as they release the water from the dam on Lake Mendota into the Yahara River. That's going to lead to some flooding. Some of those roads could be flooded for weeks there. But here's radar right now. You can actually see the entire storm system over the area. Most of the rain that came through earlier now to our east. We're in a break in the action right now. We'll be tracking more showers and thunderstorms coming in from the west later on today. But so far, we're not worried about any heavy rain right now over the Madison area. As we go through the next 3 hours, in fact, Doppler track looks like it'll be clear, but we'll still watch showers and thunderstorms developing later on this evening in the west. those do have the chance to be severe from about Iowa County and back through the Mississippi River Valley and into portions of Iowa. But we'll see some additional showers and thunderstorms developing later on. We'll have to watch those right around midnight or so. That is when we could see some of the heaviest rain get on through here. And then eventually that'll push on to the east and leave us with a lot of cloud cover going into your weekend. Speaking of cloud cover, we do have a lot of that out there right now. Of course, 65 degrees. The temperature dew points are in the lower 60s and upper 50s. So this air does not have anywhere near as much moisture as the air that we had in place on Monday. Temperatures remaining mainly in the 60s for just about all of us. We zoom out across the upper Midwest, you can actually see where a lot of that cloud cover is, where you get more sunshine. That's where temperatures take off closer to the 70s, and that's over parts of Minnesota. But we have a blanket of cloud cover that's going to be staying over us, along with some chances for some showers and thunderstorms later. Here's the region of low pressure. It's farther to the north this time and a bit weaker as opposed to the one that came through earlier, but that'll be tracking to the north, bringing with it some chances for showers and thunderstorms again overnight, and a few wraparound showers can't be ruled out on Tuesday, or on Saturday rather. Then eventually we'll get in on some sunshine before the next round of showers and thunderstorms moves in here for Sunday. Now, here is one of our higher resolution models. We have the low resolution models that go farther out, and then our higher resolution models that are better for the short-term forecast. This is one of those going through Monday at noon, and it gives us about half an inch of rain, which is good compared to what it could be, but nonetheless, half an inch of rain on already swollen waterways can, of course, cause more water to rise. But this afternoon, 68 degrees, mostly cloudy, breezy, and cool. Saturday does look like a good dry day. I'm not expecting much, if anything, in the way of rain chances on Saturday. We could see some showers in the morning, but then just about each and every day in our forecast there is at least the chance of a shower or thunderstorm. We'll have to watch Wednesday. I've been looking at the models for Wednesday, and Wednesday does have the potential to be another heavy rainmaker around here. We're in one of those patterns where we're essentially going to see system after system after system moving through, and if we can get a lot of moisture to build up beforehand, well, that's when you have what we saw the other day. But I'm hoping that we can keep the dew points down and the moisture down to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
All right, Chris, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, a scary moment on a football field in Oklahoma. How the coaches helped save a photographer's life. That's when we come back. It wasn't a tackle that took down an Oklahoma photographer while on a football field. It was a heart attack. Luckily, 2 high school coaches were there and jumped into action to save the man's life. Cassandra Sweetman reports.
God had everybody in the right spot at the right time.
Steve Bolton of the Comanche Times photographs the football team every year. This year, it nearly killed him.
Everything was fine, and he turned, went downhill just in a matter of just seconds.
It was the last photo of the day.
All of a sudden, I just felt this terrible pain that I had never felt. Nothing like, and I knew.
He called his wife Kelly over.
And I looked over at Kelly and I knew. I didn't think I'd get to hug her one more time.
That's when he collapsed.
Right when I got to him, he fell to his knees.
The coaches ran to his side. One of them, Monty Blair, started CPR.
I look up to him a lot, and he took control.
Coach Casey Rowell says for nearly 20 terrifying minutes, they didn't know if he would make it.
He's blue, and we could tell he wasn't breathing. I could tell he didn't have a heart, a pulse. So, yeah, we were definitely really worried, and I didn't know what to think, so we just kept going.
They refused to give up.
Monty would not stop, and he was hollering at him, "Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve. Stay with us."
Meanwhile, the team, the other coaches, and parents were doing what they could to help.
There was a lot of people praying.
Once the coaches started using the on-site defibrillator, Steve showed signs of life.
He just took a gasp of air, went to breathing, started getting some color back.
That's when the ambulance arrived. But what took place in that half hour, Steve calls a miracle.
I just see those coaches and all those people praying, and I think of that coach as a young boy. I was on the sideline and covered him as a high school football player, and then him to come back as the coach and save my life.
Steve now ready to continue supporting the team and the town that saved him.
We're forever linked. You just don't share that moment, because those people praying for me were just as much a part of this as anything else.
He is one lucky man, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we're lucky and we don't get a lot of heavy rain.
Hopefully so. I'm seeing a lot of the short-range models trend on the lower side of the spectrum in terms of how much rain we could see tonight. Some of the other models, not so much. So let's keep our fingers crossed that those high-resolution models with the lower rain totals end up being what is true. More rain chances through the next 10 days.
All right, that's our time for now. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.